He truly is our most evil adversary. Adversary? He's a dick.
Okay, so backed by popular demand, I will be creating another tier list whilst you watch various clips of mostly not very good caliber, anywhere from like 2009-ish to the last year, I think. I mean, I don't know what's going to be in here exactly, but yeah, that's the possible time range. This will continue to be a good way, and probably the only way I choose to offload clips that I cannot be bothered to edit in this day and age. So yeah, and after the last video, I think a few people had recommended, and I first saw by the kid with the biggest Halo 4 Montage 1 cliffhanger known to mankind, FUD, suggested that I rank rocks, and that's probably some of the better content for a tier list I could throw out there for this dumb shit, as I am literally, of this past spring, a certified professional geologist. That is not a joke. I went to school for geology, bachelor's in geology, master's in geology, and now I have like almost 5 years of work experience as a geologist, kind of, sort of. And I took an exam. I took in 2 parts of an exam. That was ridiculous, passing the first part, which I won't get into, but I like kind of cheated life somehow there. And all of that combined, I am now a certified professional geologist in the United States. And alright, I've already talked for too long, classic. So with that, let's go to the first rock on this list, which is slate. And definitely like most of these rocks here I think you'll have heard of before. Slate is a metamorphic rock, and okay, I'm not gonna go into the definition of everything I say geologically, but like y'all gotta know at least the 3 types of rocks. So we've got sedimentary rocks, which form from things like weathering and erosion and form on the surface of the earth, and we have igneous rocks, which are formed from volcanic activity, and metamorphic rock, which is a rock that has had its mineral structure changed due to either hella pressure and or hella temperature and becomes a whole ass new ass rock. So back to slate being a metamorphic rock, it automatically goes up in the tiers because that's my favorite type of rock. Slate is oftentimes like a lot of clay and really fine-grained, meaning you can't see the individual clay or silt or sand grains on the rock unless you're either a freak or have a loop or a petrographic microscope. It can also break apart pretty easily due to its slaty cleavage, which is kind of cool. It's mostly composed of things like quartz and illite and chlorite, as well as feldspars, and because of this, along with its fine-grained or aphanitic texture, it usually looks like kind of boring as hell. So it's off to a great start, but then it looks like it does. Yeah. So I'm gonna put this right here in B tier. This second rock, I mean, this is supposed to say travertine, but it says tavertin, probably because it's America. And this is one I definitely don't know very well, but I can tell you that it's a limestone rock, so it can form in caves and things like that. It forms from the chemical precipitation of calcium carbonate minerals, which pretty much means like water running against a calcium carbonate rock, and then drip, 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 and then the old SpongeBob time card of one eternity later, hey look, you got a rock. Woo! So caves and hot springs and stalactites and stalagmites, they're all quite cool. And travertine can apparently, as I was looking around online, appear as different structures and colors also. So I'm actually gonna say A tier for this one. Yeah. Now the third rock. Oh yeah, this right here. This is a rock. This is basalt. The vast majority of the volcanic rock on Earth is basalt. So that means, like, if a volcano goes boom, then basalt. Also columnar basalt, sick. Also in RuneScape, terrible agility shortcut. But, yeah, otherwise about basalt. There's some massively significant features on the Earth that are basalt-based that you can find in Yellowstone and Ireland, and most significantly the Deccan Traps in India, which were formed from, like, absolutely dummy huge volcano eruptions around the time of the extinction of the dinosaurs, some 66 million years ago, and may have played a key role in their extinction. Basalt is kick-ass. This is undeniable S tier. And we go from basalt. This is clay stone. Yeah, I think it has to be. Which is pretty much like going from basalt to clay stone. This is like going from like Halo 2 to Halo 5. It's a rock made out of like cemented clay-sized materials. They're bland. They're found everywhere. It's a sedimentary rock, which is the least exciting of the three. This is a tier. Thank you very much. Rebounding immediately, though, we've got Gneiss. G-N-E-I-S-S, nice. The source of half of geology puns. Gneiss is also a metamorphic rock that can look really cool due to its like foliations and gneissic banding, which is the wavy you probably can't see it because I'm going to have this in whatever resolution appearing over the video, like the last one, but you can imagine it, or you can look it up. That's probably better. So these bands like alternating dark and light colors of the rock due to like sequential alignment of different types of minerals. Gneiss requires really high temperature to form as a metamorphic rock. So think like a Dell laptop on a fur coat. And it also requires high pressure too. So like you're one shot as fuck, but you're trying to line up the nair. So those kinds of situations. A gneiss can also be myelinite, which can yield like larger cool minerals within the bands due to I think like recrystallization and repressurization and retemperaturization, something along those lines. I don't know. This one is also sweet, so this is also S tier. And thinking of gneiss, I'm not seeing on the list because I don't. It's like not like a primary construction material, I guess, because that's what this tier list is, like rocks and minerals for construction purposes. But schist, it should absolutely still be on here as well, because it's really sick, and would also probably be S tier, mostly due to that clean schistosity. It's beautiful. And now, okay, for the other half of all of the geology puns, and the rock maybe most familiar on this list is granite. Granite, I gotta say, even though it's pretty damn common in its own right, like a couple of the other ones I've mentioned and spoken poorly of, it's quite a nifty igneous rock. It's almost entirely quartz and feldspars, but the combination of them always makes it look at least kind of cool. All speckled and whatnot. It can be kind of whatever the hell shape it wants to be, but it's usually like kind of roundish, kind of blocky. Really reminds me of Maine, our family house up there. If you look at a lot of the New England coastline, it's just like a dick ton of granite. Of course, makes for some snazzy looking countertops, which are always nice to see when you go in someone's kitchen or your own. And one thing I found out was that it is also the primary rock used for curling stones. So hell yeah, go Canada, and go granite. This is also S tier. Yeah. Next we have gypsum, which is a mineral, not a rock. But to be fair, again, this tier list says rocks and minerals for construction purposes. So yeah, gypsum has like hella uses in the real world. I'm pretty sure. So I can respect it. But I don't care about that boring shit. I just want to know more about the mineral. First and foremost, of course, gypsum is the standard for the hardness value of 2 on Mohs hardness scale, which is like Geology 101, or maybe like 105. I think it would be a 200 level. I don't remember when I learned that. It's gotta be 100 level. But 2 on Mohs hardness scale, which means that your fingernail with a 2.5 hardness will barely be able to scratch it. Commonly has like a cool tabular or prismatic crystal habit, which means it forms as prisms and rectangles and rectangular prisms, but also appears as other crystal habits. So he's an absolutely diverse young man, like yours truly as a multi-Halo manga author. One thing that is super cool with gypsum is the Cueva de los Cristales, or Cave of Crystals in Mexico, where absolutely like gargantuan gypsum prisms form. Like I'm talking like 20 feet tall or more, because the cave has perfect conditions for gypsum to grow, and recently flooded again. I think again. I'm pretty sure it was again. So they remain pretty intact. Seriously, look this up. It's odd. The Cave of Crystals in Mexico. It's really cool to see like the few pictures they have of it. I think I'm gonna knock a point here for being like, despite all of its shapes and habits, it's like pretty bland, colorless, vitreous looking ass mineral. It's also soft as shit on the Mohs hardness scale. So, I mean, this is still A tier overall. But it's still like, you know, like pretty solid, unlike the mineral itself. Next we have limestone, which right off the bat is pretty cool because of its ease of solubility, lending it to be a common rock for cave formations and other karst topography like rolling hills and sinkholes and stuff like that. And because many limestone habitats either are currently or were many millions of years ago butting up against the seafloor, and marine transgression and regression and all that, can be a great rock for containing little fossil critters if you're into archaeology and paleontology and whatnot. I read that limestone formations contain about 1/3 of the world's petroleum reservoirs, so yeah, big oil money, woo! This also, I mean, it still kind of suffers from just being a little bland to look at oftentimes, but I mean, it occurs in a number of habitats and again, cave formations, so it's got some neat things going for it. I'm between like B or A on this one. I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I mean the fossils. I'm gonna put this one in A tier also. And so now marble, back into the cool category of Metamorphic Rock. Another pretty common rock here, pretty widely used. Marble is made up of carbonate minerals, like limestone. Yeah, to an extent. So that means if you give it the, and like for limestone rocks too, especially marble, you give it the old scratch test and pour some dilute. Gotta be safe. Dilute hydrochloric acid while wearing the proper gloves. It'll fizz up, which is like about as cool of an immediate reaction as you're gonna get from a rock. Aside from like breaking it apart and smashing it or something. You got all kinds of marble statues and buildings in like DC if you're into that kind of shit. I think the overall most important takeaway you could ever have from this rock is. You gotta lick the marble, you gotta wash the marble, you gotta date the marble, and you gotta be the marble. So any rock good enough to be a topic in a SpongeBob episode is at least B tier. And I think I'm still gonna go, yeah, one step higher, and also put this one at A tier. We're clogging this one up. Silica, I don't know why this is in here, man. I mean, I guess it's a mineral. It's not a rock. Like gypsum. The gypsum is better. I guess it's a component of some construction materials. I mean, it's mostly quartz. It's also, like, potentially dangerous if you inhale silicon dioxide. Not a rock. Also hazardous. D tier. But now, quartzite is a rock that used to be sedimentary sandstone, yeah, and then through the old additions of temperature and pressure, again, like mentioned before, becomes metamorphic quartzite. As the name suggests, I mean, it's like entirely quartz. I don't know, man. It's mostly quartz, which is boring. I think the rock is kind of common throughout the world. It doesn't look all that amazing. The fact that it's a metamorphic rock will bump it up to C tier, but I don't know. Nothing more for this rock metaphor of any given Halo Reach Forge map ever. C tier. Sandstone. Okay, now, again, really common, like really freaking common. Usually brown or gray or grayish brown or tan, something like that in color. I will say, though, one of the coolest rock outcroppings I've ever come across was the St. Peter Sandstone in Minnesota, near the middle of the state, I think, near the Twin Cities. Now, it's almost entirely just pure quartz, and in Minnesota in particular, the quartz grains exhibit really poor cementation, so that grains easily crumble apart. So during my hydrogeology field camp back in 2015 in Minnesota, I literally could just take my hand and peel off the outer surface of the rock from the outcrop like it was an orange rind, and sand would literally crumble out from underneath it. Really freaking cool. Otherwise, sandstone, to my knowledge, pretty uninspiring, but the St. Peter Sandstone alone is gonna put this into D tier for me. This is Adversary after the fact. As I'm putting this video together, I meant to say B tier there. It was late at night. Okay, now on to the next one. And that... sand. Again, not a rock. Also not a mineral. It's sand. And they don't even say what kind of sand it is. I mean, maybe I could infer by looking at it. Maybe. But, I mean, I don't know. Is it a sand that's very conducive for the installation of a drinking water well, perhaps? Like a very coarse sand or a fine gravelly sand? Is it a mixture, a nice loamy sand that yields some clay and silt? Perhaps a silty sand, so it feels quite smooth when you're performing a ribbon test on it. I need more information about this, and it's also not a rock, and it's not a mineral, and I'm not going to rank this shit. So, that leaves talc, which is another reference mineral. Not a rock, but mineral. Reference mineral for the Mohs scale hardness, as mentioned earlier. This is the softest mineral on the scale, actually at a 1, so it can easily be scratched by your fingernail. For which the softness, I mean, I guess that's why it's using baby powder, yeah. It's another waxy or vitreous appearing mineral that can, I mean, it can sometimes look kind of cool, but most of the time it's just a kind of waxy, white, chalky block. It also has some health concerns linked to it. And again, it's just kind of a mineral. It gets some bonus points as a reference hardness mineral, and is pretty cool to be so freaking soft as an actual mineral, but I'm uninspired, and this yeah, this is gonna be C tier. So that's enough talking about rocks and minerals in one sitting. Yeah, I mean, there were minerals tier lists with like 40 minerals with small ass pictures, like smaller than this, and they weren't labeled, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, no.